In this video, we're going to take a look at the third machine from tier 2 of HackTheBox starting point, which is called Vaccine. And as you can see here, I've already connected to the VPN, booted up the box, and I've also ran the Nmap scan. And here you can see the results of the scan. We ran the scan with the service enumeration and the default scripts with the rate of 1000 on all ports. From these results, we can see here that we have FTP running and there's anonymous authentication allowed. And once logged in, you can also download the backup.zip file, which is available to this particular account. We also have SSH running on port 22, as well as a HTTP website running on port 80 on Apache. In order to follow this particular box chronologically, I'm going back to the portal and have a look at the first question, which is, besides SSH and HTTP, what other service is hosted on the box, which is FTP. The next question says the service can be configured to allow login with any password for specific username. We have seen the anonymous user already set up on the FTP Nmap scan, which is the answer for this one. And the question for task 3 is, what is the name of the file downloaded over the service? And as we have seen in the, again referring to our Nmap scan results, this one is backup.zip. The fourth question says, what type of scripts comes with John the Ripper toolset and generates a hash from a password protected zip archive in a format to allow for cracking attempts? There are various 2john scripts. In this particular case, it's going to be zip2john, since we're going to try and crack a zip file. But there are various other scripts available. As you can see here, there are OpenSSL, Radius, there's SSH, and the list goes on. On to the next question. Let's have a look on the portal, which is asking us about the password for the admin user on the particular website. In order to tackle this question, let's download the file of the FTP server and see what we're up against. So here quickly, I just connected to the FTP server using the anonymous account without specifying any password. And as we can see, we have a successful login. And now we're going to use the get command in order to retrieve the backup.zip file. With the file in hand, I've tried to unzip it using admin as a password, but it failed. Keeping in mind the previous questions on the portal, I think it meant for us to try and crack it with John the Ripper. So in order to do this, we will use zip2john to get the hash of the password. As we can see here, I will chuck that into a file so that it is easier for us to use with John the Ripper. And once that's done, we can use John. I will also make use of the rocku word list, and then I will specify the hash. Immediately, in just not even a second, we can see that the password is available to us, which I will use to extract the files. As we can see here, we have two files, index and style. I don't think style is going to contain anything interesting, so I will just open up the index.php to see what we have here. Immediately in the first few lines, we can see that there is the admin username and the password, but the password seems to be encrypted. We will use Hashcat in order to decode it. And we can use Hashcat -help to see how to use it. Here we can see there are various options available to us by this tool. It is allowing us to do brute forcing, word lists, and word lists with rules to specify, like for example, uppercase or add some characters at the end, and so on, which makes it quite a versatile tool. For some reason, my copy command didn't work here, so I'm just going to cat out the contents of the index file and copy the hash from there. In this case, I will use Hashcat with the -m0, which is the settings for an MD5 hash, followed by the hash that we're trying to crack, and I will also use the rocku word list again. This might take a few minutes, so in the meantime, I would like to share with you another way of getting the password for such cases, which is Crackstation. In the site, you can just paste in the hash that you would like to crack, verify yourself as a non-robot, and then it will spit out the result for you. As we can see, they have loads of hashes already cracked and ready to go. This site is quite handy sometimes when you don't have a powerful machine with you and you just want to crack a password on the fly. At this point, I will go ahead and provide this password as an answer for the pending question on the HackTheBox portal. In the meantime, as shown here, we can see that also Hashcat has managed to crack the password in 1 second. which is now displayed on screen. As you have seen throughout my videos, I share various information about hacking, but in this video I will ask you for your help to hack the YouTube algorithm. So yeah, please like, comment and subscribe if you are into this sort of content so you don't miss out on future videos. Anyways, on to more exciting stuff. Reviewing the upcoming question, we are asked about some SQL injection. With this information in mind, I will simply load up the webpage and use the credentials we have managed to obtain to see what we can be done on the portal. The only thing that accepts input is the search box on the top right hand side of the page. We can insert a single quote and hit search, and we notice that this is returning an error about unterminated quote, which means that the search bar is vulnerable to SQL injection. To dive deeper into this, I will be using Sqlmap. If we use the Sqlmap-H, it will show us the help menu for this tool, and we are particularly interested in obtaining an interactive shell of the target host. As we can see here, we have two options, but there is one of which matches the one we were after on the portal. We seem to be able to run something as root using sudo, so we just need to figure out what it is. Let's start by gaining access to the system. I will set up burp suite on Firefox so that we can capture the requests. We have already used this before, so I will be linking that video here. And yeah, with that set up, I will go ahead and do a random search so that we can grab its data, including the valuable information about cookies and so on. I will chuck this into a file so that it's easier to feed into Sqlmap. And now we can use the -r parameter and pass in the data we have just retrieved from burp suite. As we can see from the output of this tool, there are a few identified injection points. In our case, we will just use the OS shell parameter next so that we can get onto the system, while also passing in the request from earlier. I will check what the running user is here, which is Postgres, and we can use the ls to list all the tables, and as we can see here, we are in the Postgres folder. I will start up a netcat listener and a reverse shell here. Another site that is great to make use of is reverseshells.com, as this can be used to generate reverse shares for you, and all you need to do is just provide it with the IP address and the port. I'm going to get netcat going on port 7777, and now we just paste in the reverse shell code retrieved from the website, and here we have the connection established. Unfortunately, the connection died up on me here, so I'm just going to go through the process again quickly. And now I will move into the website directory. Here we have a bunch of files which might contain some important information. I'm just going to grab using -i for insensitive and pass, which is short for password, and output the whole line on our terminal. Seems like we have hit the jackpot here because we have a hard-coded password for the Postgres user. With this information, we can run sudo the shell in order to see what commands the current user is allowed to execute with elevated privileges, as configured in the sudoers file. In this case, it seems like we can open up v with the whole file specified. And with this information in mind, I will introduce you to another website, which is GTFOBins. Here you can identify what can be done in order to abuse the current situation and gain root access through it. Before moving on, let's answer the question on the HackTheBox portal, which is V, and we can just jump back into some more action. Let's start an SSH session here to make things easier. Once logged on, I will go ahead and run the V command as set up in the sudoers file, and I will review again the options we have on GTFOBins, and it seems like the option B command is the only option we can go for in our current situation, since V already needs to be running. So we will grab this second line and execute it, which will set a shell, and then we will get into this shell we have just created, and voila! We now have root access to the system. To finish up the questions on the portal, I will go ahead and cut out the user flag and the root flag, which are under their respective home folders. And with this all set up and done, we have managed to finish up another challenge. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did, so please subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, keep learning, keep exploring.